Hello everyone, this is Tormuse, and today I'm playing Gay Lesbian Club, which is a mod that I made, obviously, in case it wasn't obvious, it's a Pride-themed mod. I made it in honor of Pride Month, since it is still currently the month of June. So yeah, clearly very garish color selection, intentionally so. Um, I did not want to be subtle at all, basically. Uh, and yeah. Also, take note, Dev, if you're still there. I split up the line in two so that the words gay don't go behind Monica's thighs here. Just thought I'd point that out. Anyway, yeah. I commissioned someone to make the logo. Basically, told them to make it really flashy looking, and she really delivered. I really appreciate that. And the addition of all the flags going around is pretty neat. I don't even recognize all of these. Like you got there's a little bit of the flags in front of me. Like there's a standard pride flag here. There's looks like a little bit of lesbian flag right there, bisexual flag. That's a transgender flag. At first glance I was thinking, oh, white, purple, black, gray is an asexual flag, but I think that gray might be part of this flag here, and I think maybe this is another flag here. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. Second guessing myself now. Troy's struggling to keep his composure at having to clearly dictate the words Gay Lesbian Club into a microphone for 7+ people to see. Yeah. Non-binary flag? Oh, okay. Alright, fair enough. Yeah, I know this is the intersex symbol here. This is pansexual flag. Yeah, I don't recognize all of these. This is the infinity heart. This is the polyamory flag. Somebody said that, I think these are like demi-romantic or demisexual flags here. This is the multi-level marketing flag. I'm just kidding. It's the men-loving men flag. It's the gay flag. It's the one that's specifically tailored to men. Yeah, some of these other ones I don't know about these. This one has a paw print in it, which is cute. I don't know what that means. I'm just saying gay and trans, but what the hell is a cisgender? Not sure if I would trust one of those. Ha ha ha. Very funny. But yeah, I hope the sound level is okay. I did no sound check whatsoever. I have a feeling it might be prudent to turn these down a bit. Paw print? Yeah, there's a little this flag here has a little. I mean, it's subtle. Like, it's hard to. I guess it's hard to see here. A pauper symbol, which is cute. Oh, Torius, yeah. The pauper is is that a furry flag? Is that a thing? I can't say I was aware of that. Sweet innocent Torius. Sure. Anyway, yes, this mod. This is like, I'm still working on Turquoise. My Psionic themed mod. I've been working on that for months. This was just a throwaway project I made. Like I made it over the course of a couple of weeks. I just made this short 20-minute thing because I wanted to, do something in support of Pride Month, because it's like, considering the content that I've made in terms of DDLCMods over the last 5 years, you'd think I would have done something like this sooner, quite frankly. But hey, better late than never. I just wanted to. Oh right, sorry. I thought that was a lot worse. I have no clue why. Thank you, flag designers. Sorry, wait, what? So you wanted to give up before? Let me give you a hint. It's from a large force animal. Oh, it's a bear. Oh, it's a bear flag. Oh, okay. I don't think we don't need to be coy about that. I mean, bear is a slang term for a gay man who's like big and burly, you know, big, big beefy muscular guy, you know. So I mean, I don't think that doesn't no need to be secretive about that. Yeah, just messing. Yeah. Never seen a flag for that specifically before. Slight panic there. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. How many bears are in this mod? That's funny. Sorry. Anyway. What am I trying to say here? Yeah, like I just wanted to like in my view is like this is just a simple thing. So it's like it's not the first time I've done a mod in honor of the season or whatever. Like I made a Halloween themed mod for Halloween. I made a Christmas themed mod for Christmas. Here I'm making a Pride themed mod for Pride Month, and holy crap, people absolutely jumped down my throat over it. The post, I posted this on Reddit on the r/DDLCMods subreddit, and within 24 hours, this became the most controversial post in the subreddit's history. In its 5-year history with 60,000 members, this is the most controversial post, apparently, according to Reddit's filter. You can select it. You can sort by controversialness, and this one's number 1 for all time, which is fascinating to me on a number of levels. Partly because, you know, I also own the most upvoted post in history. You know, the one for Doki Doki Storm. You know, humble brag, etc. And this is like now the most downvoted post. Like I own both the most upvoted and the most downvoted in the community's 5-year history, which is kind of funny in itself. And it's also really interesting in the sense that a clear, vast majority of the people commenting and downvoting did not play it. I know that for a fact because I have the link that I posted for the download. It's I had a link shortener bit.ly link. I can track clicks on the link. It tells me how many people clicked it. There are a lot more comments and downvotes than there are clicks on the link. Like a lot more. You know, basically what I'm saying is people didn't play the mod before they absolutely condemned the heck out of it and condemned the heck out of me and downvoted the post into oblivion. Like, there was so much hate for this, and I'm like, I'm not bothered in the sense that, oh no, my feelings are hurt because my mod didn't do so well. It's like I'm mostly kind of amused. Okay. Truth be told, I am a little saddened for the LGBT community in terms of, oh hey, Gamer Dylan 99021, welcome to the stream. How's it going? That's cool. Top controversial all time within 24 hours. Yeah, that's the other thing. The Doki Doki Storm post, most upvoted post in the subreddit's history, has 240 comments. This one now, the post for this mod, Gay Lesbian Club, has 275 comments. It exceeded the comment count in 2 days that the other one had for 2.5 years. Like, this I was not expecting that to get this much attention. Like the comment section was just absolutely buzzing with activity. It's crazy. It was wild. I can't believe how wild the reactions to this have been. But yeah, like on some level, it does sadden me a bit that there's that degree of hate for the LGBT community in DDLCMods. Like, I mean, like I kind of I expected there to be a negative reaction, you know, like that's inevitable when it comes to this sort of content because you know the sadly there's a lot of homophobia out there, there's a lot of transphobia out there, you know, there's just there's a lot of bigotry about that out there. So you know, right away there's that there's that's you have to expect that sort of reaction. Hey, Venus, there's a rare chance you're reading this, but if you are, don't bother. Lol, we're either going to ignore you or not take you seriously. You don't seem to be taking us seriously enough to play the mod. So why should we reciprocate what's not being provided to us in the first place? Yeah, I know who you're referring to. I'm trying not to single any individual out. It is kind of there was some widespread hate expressed in the comments. Have fun down there, make it gayer. Yeah, yeah. I've joked that I've said many times before that the running gag is every time people criticize my the LGBT content in my mods, I make the next one gayer. And at this rate, the next mod is just going to be the girls, you know, just yelling the word "gay" at each other for 6 hours. Obviously, I've told that joke a few times now, so I guess I'm maybe overly pleased with it. People are raised to be homophobic from their rural towns and churches. They simply do not get the world experience or taught to critical thinking by their parents' ages. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the long and short of it. Yeah, it's the lack of critical thinking. I mean, how Travis was to coping and making that he's spent half the VOD complaining about the haters. Well, I think it's important to put this in its a proper social context, because I think, you know, this is kind of a teachable moment in itself. Like, this is like because that comment section sort of acts as a microcosm of the world in general. I mean, I shouldn't say like it's not. I mean, I would like to believe that those kinds of comments are from a vocal minority, you know. Modding, good job phone typing. It's not a complaint, it's discussion. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying this so much as a complaint. I'm just it's just sort of a bit of breakdown, a bit of analysis, because it's fascinating to me. Not that I'm trying to sound too detached from the very real world problem of there are people out in the world who want to, you know, stamp LGBT folk out of existence. I mean, like this is if this is the reaction they have to a silly, harmless little piece of fan fiction, how do you think they react to actual, real life LGBT folks? I mean, and part of the answer to that is, well, they probably don't have any real world experience with LGBT folks, because if they did, they'd probably realize that they're actually really ordinary people. You know, so like all the hate is just so utterly pointless. You know, but yeah, you know, and also it's just yeah. So I mean, it's kind of sad from the standpoint of like, yeah, this is kind of a sad reflection of the way certain people behave in real life. I mean, it's also probably important to note that, you know, DDLC has a fandom that attracts mostly teenagers. They probably just have not a whole lot of real life experience in general, and you know, maybe they just, you know, they're people that, you know, if you'll excuse the expression, they need to touch grass more. You know, they need to get outside, get out there, meet people, learn what the world is like, learn what people are like. You know, because I think a lot of them just see gay as some kind of abstract concept. They know on some intellectual level that gay people exist, but they don't really think about it. It's like what somebody said here about they lack critical thinking. Yeah, what Shaka said about they're not taught critical thinking. Um, um, so yeah, like now that I've rambled so much about this, I'm regretting that I didn't. I didn't post. You know what? Maybe I will just really quick. Sure. Maybe I will make an announcement about it. If I can get like just a couple more viewers, why not? Maybe it's worth it. So bear with me here. Mm-mm-mm. Okay, let's just post this in a few places. There and there and there. Deserves a post over here, I think. I've basically been putting links in all of my basically any server which has a self promo channel. Sorry, bear with me. I've got just a few more left to do. Okay, Twitch Automod, get ready. Yeah, that's probably. Shoot, I wrote playing. I should probably be streaming instead of playing. Oh, whatever. Part of the issue is my computer's being slow and there's a delay between clicking and this thing responding. There we go. There we go. I hope I didn't miss anything. Okay, anyway, back to what I was saying. I should probably catch up on chat first. Apologies for the interruption there. As a complete discussion, I think they might just feel like we're forcing it onto the club members, which kind of brings back what I said before, testing about how shoehorning representation isn't your style. I think you balanced it very well for the record. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. There are a lot of really weird criticisms that come up around this sort of thing. Like, I'm forcing it on them or shoehorning it in or whatever. And it's like, okay, first off, okay, this is fan fiction. I'm allowed to write whatever story I want. What I can allowed to write whatever characterizations I want. Um, like talking about how I'm forcing it on them, like makes it sound like I'm inflicting this cruel thing on them. Like they're fictional characters. I'm sorry, they don't exist. Like, sorry to burst your bubble, but the girls in Doki Doki Literature Club don't exist. They are fictional characters. I'm just using them as vehicles for the story that I want to tell, or the themes I want to express. You know, at least in this mod, I'm everybody's happy, and I'm giving them happy endings and stuff, and I'm not like doing other horrible things to them. And I also heard the criticism that, oh, it's unnecessary to make them gay. And it's like, okay, first of all, I didn't do it because I thought it was necessary. I didn't do it because I thought I had to do it. It's because I chose to do it. Because it fits the theme of particularly because it fits the theme of a Pride themed mod. It would be weird if I made a Pride themed mod for Pride Month and I didn't make anyone gay, you know? Like, what would you expected me to do otherwise? Like, were they just supposed to have the girls like talking at the camera for the whole mod, or did you expect me to introduce an OC who nobody cares about just to have them show up just to be there as a token gay character, so that the audience doesn't have to care about them and then they go away? I don't know. I mean, again, it's part of that whole thing of I guess people aren't used to. It's like Shaq said made the comment about people in rural areas and so on. I mean, it could be part of it, yeah, but what am I trying to say here? Yeah, like it's a lot of this is just people don't have real world experience interacting with gay people, and shoot, my train of thought went off the rails. I'm sorry. I'm repeating myself what I said before. But yeah, like, oh yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, no, I was gonna make a comment about how gay people are portrayed in media, which is for the most part not much, and if they're there, they're relegated to side characters, and or they get killed. It's actually really common to kill gay characters off in shows, so much that there's a trope for it called "bury your gays." If you look on tvtropes.org, there's a whole listing of every like show, book, or whatever where the specifically the gay people get killed off. Hey, I just noticed. Hey, first time chatter, Arakora Vorak. Welcome to the stream. It's as if LGBT visibility is only okay if it's not actually visible. Aha! You cracked the code. Nice first comment. No, exactly. That's exactly what's going on. Like there are complicated politics behind it, because you know, nowadays, I mean, yes, like there's still widespread you know, bigotry towards LGBT folks, but there's also there's enough of a push for acceptance that some studios and so on feel obligated to have, okay, we'll have a token gay character and have them on somewhere on the side there where you don't have to pay attention to them. Like, and they don't want to to center the gay people or have them be a protagonist or something. Or like random example in the Star Wars, the latest Star Wars movie, Rise of Skywalker. There's during the celebration, there's randomly you see two girls kissing each other in the background, and that's it. That's your gay representation. That's all you get for 9 movies. One pair kissing each other, which can easily be cut out if they decide they don't want to include it. Handles gays as long as they keep it in the bedroom away from kids. Now, excuse me, I have to take my new kid to Hooters. Live slick reaction, yeah. Have we spent the last 20 minutes on the title screen? Yeah, pretty much. Probably. I haven't been timing it. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat here. Just get in the way of them and their 2D waifus, haha, yeah. Forcing the cleverness, yeah. Electron pubs, they do not say anything without being written to. Yeah, yeah. Twitch, am I gonna... The fact that we were training around 6 viewers after switching topic is pretty impressive. Yeah, I thought so too. I think we should be taking less so that we... If anything, we should be talking less so that we don't get derailed so often. Technically did do that with FemC, lol. You could say that, I suppose. Outstanding lines. Anyway, yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. So yeah, like I'm not offended or hurt by the downvotes or the negative comments or whatever. Like I mean, I sort of have a range of reactions. Part of it is like I just find it laughable when people downvote my comments. Like why? What's the point? What do you see as the point of downvoting the comments? Do you think it hurts my feelings or something? Like, I don't care. It's just, I don't know. The way I see it, it's normal for different people to like different things. Like, the world's a big place. Everyone has different tastes. Not everyone is going to like this mod. I think that the people who do like it are going to seek it out, and great. They're the ones that I'm making the mod for. There probably are some people in the middle who are indifferent and will. I mean, there probably are. There do exist some people in the middle who are indifferent about it and will play it and form opinions based on its own merits. I have received a couple comments along those lines, at least, so that's cool. But yeah, there are a lot of people for whom the reaction is just automatic hate right out of the gate, and you know it's funny because a lot of them, again, because of the complicated politics around this, that there's this push for gay acceptance and or LGBT acceptance and LGBT pride. That basically saying it's okay to be not fully cisgender heterosexual or whatever, acceptance of that idea and even being able to express pride in having those identities, that people have to, some people feel like they have to couch their opinions in, oh, I'm not homophobic, but, and then make up some excuse for why they didn't like the mod. And some people just absolutely, they just dance around that. They don't want to admit that they just don't like the concept of gay people to begin with. They just dance around that and they say something like, oh, I don't know, like, pride is overrated, or they say, oh, or the logo is too, too gaudy, or whatever word they want to use for it. So you got given First Amendment right to use Reddit disagree button. Yeah. Have you gotten any Reddit help messages over it yet? Reddit help messages? I'm not sure what you mean by Reddit help messages. I'm not homophobic, but homophobic. Oh yeah. Oh, it's the same. It's the same with people. Anyone who says anything along the lines of "I'm not racist, but," or that sort of thing. Or not to sound sexist, but, or any of those isms. Like, this. They're people who use that turn of phrase are usually about to say something bigoted. um, and you know, and just one other point I want to make clear. I'm not looking to condemn the people for expressing their hate or whatever either. You know, like I don't want to. I don't want to label the people as saying this is a homophobic person. It's because as a general rule, it is more constructive to label actions than to label people. Because if you label the action and say, hey, that comment was kind of homophobic, then it's more constructive in the sense that okay, now they can learn better to not make that comment. Whereas if you say the person is homophobic, then it sounds like it makes it sound like okay, this is a label that's been applied to them and nothing they can do can change it. You know, I would rather be constructive and find ways for people to learn and improve and so on. You know. Right-wing political parties have created a boogeyman that they promise to get rid of so people will vote for. They also do not care about the illegitimacy of their propaganda online. It also makes them money from clicks, which exacerbates the issue of a really small worldview of rural places. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for good points there, yeah. And, yeah, especially lately, I've, you know, I sort of tentatively follow like American politics. I mean, you sort of can't help but do so. Really, the Republican Party in the U.S. is really big on the culture war lately. That's just been like the big thing on their mind. You know, condemning like wokeism or whatever. And I don't know, like societal trends are a pendulum, as one of my high school music teachers like to say. I like to say, like it's always swinging back and forth. Like anytime progress is made in one direction, there's backlash pushing it the other way, and it kind of goes back and forth. I'd like to think that generally society is making progress and people are generally realizing that, hey, you know what? Like, gay people are actually pretty ordinary people, and that there isn't anything so special about them that that they need to have all this hate heaped on them. You know, and same for trans people. Like, these are people that are just trying to live their lives. It's like, whatever. They still have the same things that all human beings do. You know, they have in the sense that you know, they have family and friends that shape their influence their lives, and they have you know, they have careers, and they go to work and earn incomes, and they have hobbies and interests and so on, and all those things that like regular human beings do, and they live their lives and do their thing just like anyone else. And it's just, I don't know, it's just, if you really step back and look at it, it just seems odd to heap so much hate on the person for one small aspect of their personality, or, you know, or identity or whatever. You know, there's no real logical reason for it. I mean, like, people will rationalize it after the fact. They'll make up whatever reason or excuse they feel they need to, because that's how cognitive dissonance works. When someone realizes they have a nonsensical opinion, they're not going to admit they're not going to admit that it's nonsensical. That it hurts too much to admit they're wrong, and so they're going to make up excuse for it after the fact. And they might even be lying to themselves. They may not be willing to admit that they're just making up excuses. Because that reinforces the cognitive dissonance, and they don't like that. So they want to you know, there's a real world phenomenon where if someone is confronted with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, the tendency is to hold on to the beliefs even harder, and then make up excuses to discount the evidence. It takes real self-reflection to change. to change your worldview. And self-reflection is hard. It can be painful. It can be painful to admit that you made a mistake. You know, especially when it's like core values, like things you were raised with or whatever. It's hard. It's for some people it's really hard. You know, I don't want to discount the fact that it's hard. For some of these people. That doesn't change the fact that it's potentially hurtful and damaging if they're expressing these views. Like especially like in a public setting, like my comment chains in the post. But yeah, I don't know. It's here I'm going rambling again, and I'm noticing my blood sugar crashing again. So this might briefly turn into another mukbang stream theory. Well, so I can just eat another cookie. Oh. I'll just read chat while I'm doing that. Just a second, I'll be right back. I have to wash the chocolate off my hand. Yeah, I was gonna say, Reddit cares, whatever. Sometimes when someone is really mad, they use the button Reddit provides to send them a message listing suicide hotlines and stuff. Would have been really ironic considering the one Monty made. Yes, that would be ironic. Sorry, is that a thing people do? Like, they would try to send like suicide hotline stuff at people who are not suicidal, but just to disrupt them. Like, that's weird. For the record, I'm not suicidal. I mean, I do have experience with depression, sure, but I see life as an adventure and stuff. You never know what's going to happen next, and there's always a chance for things to get better, you know? I try to keep in that mindset. I don't know if it's just me, but the big colored circle streaming past from the white background makes me think of a Twister, man. Yeah, oh, you're not the only one. Yeah, I talked about that already. Yeah. The effed up thing is that I do have actual critiques of the mod, but I know that they'll just get used as a smokescreen and a bludgeon by assholes. Yes, and that's the problem. I can't get proper constructive conversations about this, which is really troubling. Like it's honestly really troubling because it's not by no means a perfect mod. Like, this is a silly throwaway mod. It's like whatever. It's got some. There were some things that I did adjust or change, and I'm going to talk about them as I go along. Like, this is version 1.2. The initial release was version 1.1. I released this one 3 days later. After that. Loved every bit of it, that except I would argue that introspection can be very uncomfortable but not painful. Avoiding pain can be a legit reason to avoid doing something, but discomfort is necessary for actual growth. Yes, thank you. Yeah, I agreed. Excuse me. How would you give my constructive criticism in dev server? You kind of put yourself into a real moment with this mod. Yeah, you could say that. Like, even the LGBT hate, Yeah, no, someone did make that comment. Even the LGBT hate it. Like, people already made that comment. Um, yeah. I'm not even sure who they or what they were talking about, quite frankly. But anyway, yeah, no, seriously, people are making excuses, like which is it's a dumb criticism in from the standpoint of like the whole LGBT umbrella is made up of a lot of different kinds of people, and they're going to have a lot of different kinds of opinions about a lot of different kinds of things. So I don't expect everyone under the LGBT umbrella to like my mod. It's fine if they don't. Everyone's opinions are valid. That's perfectly fine. I believe it's an important skill to be able to look at feedback and sort through what is useful feedback and what is not. Like some people did give some useful feedback. I had to do a lot of sorting to find it, but there were some valuable points raised, and I addressed them and adjusted this for version 1.2. But there's a lot of just absolute bile being heaped on me. There was one person who, well, there were a couple people really who were comparing gay people to pedophiles in that comment section. There's one guy who just went off on this huge wall of text rant that was chock full of Nazi talking points. Like, holy crap, this is a guy who's like clearly full blown Nazi. Like going on about genetic superiority and needing to weed out the weak, and this is talking about neuron density, which even I don't know, trying to convince me that heterosexual people are like biologically naturally smarter than gay people or something. Like, there's such a cope, such a but I've been banned from other subreddits guy. Yeah, that guy saying he didn't want to give his full opinions because he's been banned from other subreddits for it. And this is his non-full opinion, and he's condemning gay people as being degenerate and what was the other word? Hedonistic. And it's just this long rambling rant about that whole thing, and finishing it by saying he's joining the Marines because he's feeling the call to be a warrior or whatever. It's just the whole thing is just Nazi stuff. It's full through and through. Just holy moly. I hope using that word doesn't get me my video reported or something. I can just see some actual Nazi reporting my videos saying I'm promoting Nazi content or something, and then getting the video removed. In which case, I might have to upload a new version of this video with that part cut out or something. But yeah, like it's just obviously like that one guy is an extreme example, but there's just yeah, basically there's a lot of hate expressed in the mod. And unfortunately, as BGSweet pointed out, this causes a bit of a polarizing effect where it creates this impression that you have to either totally love the mod or totally hate it. And that doesn't have to be the case. Like, I've long been a proponent of the idea. It's possible to like something and still be able to spot the flaws in it. It's or vice versa. Being able to identify flaws is an important step in improving things. Like like I can't fix something if I don't acknowledge the flaws. If I just like blindly say I love this is the best, it means you can't improve it. Sorry. Maybe after the stream, my thoughts will be coherent enough for criticisms to be worthy of a DM and not a throwaway comment, or maybe my mind will change. Fair enough. Hey, I welcome all feedback, good and bad. Seriously. I've been saying that all along, so... I mean, I would like it to be constructive criticism. Like, by definition, constructive criticism means telling me what to fix, like what to change. Like, it has to be specific. If you just, like, if your criticism is this is a bad mod, make it better, that gives me nothing to work with. Okay, like, criticism, that's more specific. Like, okay, like the one specific criticism that I got was there's a group hug at the end of this where somebody grabs MC's butt during the hug. You know, I was in it as a gag to you know, diffuse tension because there was a tense emotional scene before that. Someone said it made him feel icky that MC's being groped during an emotional crisis, and like, I mean, just generally the fact that being groped without consent is kind of icky. And like, you know what? Fair enough. I cut that out. The butt grab has been excised from this version of the mod. That was an example of a perfectly legitimate criticism. You know, it's like we like the mod overall, butt grab not so much. Fair enough. I'll cut that out. That was completely a fair criticism. You know, okay, can we please play the mod now, lol? Okay, fine. Well, let me just catch up on chat first, then I'll start. You have to love it or hate it. That's by design with the right. Yeah. But they want to give the impression that you should be scared of critiquing gay stuff, which leads people to anger about the whole thing and puts them down a rabbit hole towards actual victory. That, yes, all of that. Sorry, ProCube. I swear I'll start the mod shortly. I do want to comment on that. Okay, all I'm going to say is there's a YouTube channel called Innuendo Studios. He has a fantastic series of videos on that subject. On the whole alt-right pipeline, how people tend to get funneled towards actual NAZI talking points and stuff. You know, yeah, as you say, forcing them down a rabbit hole towards bigotry. But there's an actual conversation of queer media should be able to suck too. Yeah, that's a valuable talking point too. I have a lot I could say about that too, but I have to start the mod soon. Let me just quickly catch up with this here. Yeah, no equality without terrible, trashy LGBT Christmas films that no one watches unless they're lonely and drunk. Haha. Yeah. Creeping towards an hour of title screen. Oh, shoot. Oh, you're probably right. Okay. All right. Here we go. We're finally hitting a new game. Please enter her name. We're gonna make her Tormusa. It's the female Tormuse. There we go. Oh my gosh, I am so gay. We all know that, Sayori. Sorry, I guess I'm a little excited because I love girls so much. Well, sure, we all do, but you don't have to go announcing it out of nowhere. Doesn't even make sense. How can you be so gay? I mean, you're either gay or you're not. It's not like you're more gay than the rest of us. Actually, there are some schools of thought that suggest it's more of a spectrum, and there may be differing degrees of attraction across the genders. Okay, before we bring up that argument again, Sari, isn't there something you're forgetting? Tormusa, yeah. Okay, so in the interest of keeping the commentary going, this Sari's first line here, I wrote that in the script before I knew anything about what the mod was going to be about. I wrote it to be deliberately to deliberately come out of nowhere. Um, Basically, it's a bit, that line is there as a big middle finger to the homophobes. Like, you know, it's like, screw you, I made Sayuri gay. Deal with it, you know. And it also sets the tone for the mod. It gives the impression that it doesn't take itself completely seriously, and it's going to be a bit silly. Just entered my screen name for this mod, and hearing them talk about me with all they said made me feel something. I don't know. Oh, okay. This mod will be the start for at least one person. That is really funny to me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, there's some people who said that this mod was their introduction to some of the terms that are used in it, which I think is kind of cool. Anyway, moving right along. Isn't there something you're forgetting? Huh? Ahem, about our new member. Oh, crap, I forgot. Sorry, Termisa, you can come in now. I thought I told you not to call me a new member. You brought a girl? That's awesome. Welcome to the Literature Club. It's a pleasure to meet you. Ah, Termisa. Good to see you. Welcome to the club. Hi. Yeah, this is, yeah, obviously this is a recreation of their first lines, except that Natsuki says it's awesome instead of way to kill the atmosphere. Anyway. And what are you looking at? You like what you see? Sorry. It's, there's something funny about Natsuki getting flirty and seductive looking instead of her usual standoffish, irritated behavior. Anyway, Natsuki, you promised to behave. Spoil sport. You can just ignore her when she gets flirty. Anyway, this is Natsuki, always full of energy, and this is Yuri, the smartest in the club. They're in a relationship together, and it's the cutest thing ever. Hey, we're not cute. I mean, except for Yuri, she's kinda cute. Pardon me, I take exception to that. I think you'll find that between the two of us, you're the cute one. Excuse me? Have you looked in a mirror lately? You're obviously cuter. You must need new contact lenses or you'd know that you're cuter. Are you kidding me? The way you stammer and blush is friggin' adorable. Well, I think it's endearing how you pout when you don't get your way. You're cute when you play with your hair. You're cute when you stand up on tiptoe to kiss me. Oh yeah? Well, you're a cutie patootie. Your cuteness knows no bounds. You're so cute. You're so cute. I love you. I love you too. Yeah, it's so yeah, yes, Yuri and Natsuki are like play flirting or flirt fighting, fight flirting or something instead of fighting about their poetry. All words escape me. Yeah, that was her. This club is full of incredibly cute girls moment. Yeah. Do you think this exchange was dragged out a little bit? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Cute rage, yeah. I mean, I feel like it needed to have some duration so that the song has time to play. Maybe it's a little dragged. I mean, some part of me was sort of wishing it was longer so that you have more time to listen to hear the song. But maybe I don't know. Maybe that's a sign that it was just the right length. Anyway, moving right along. Anyway, that's Natsuki and Yuri. And it sounds like you already know Monica. Is that right? Not exactly. We just met in passing the other day. But it's great to see you again, Tormisa. Yeah, that's obviously a change. Because of MC or FemC's backstory here, I can't really say she and Monica knew each other last year, so I just said that I changed that a bit there. Anyway, you too, Monica. So what made you consider the literature club? Well, you'll have to excuse Termusa. She's a little shy. Great, she'll fit right in with Yuri. Don't be mean. This is really hard for her. It's okay, Termusa. My friends are really nice. Yeah, this is going to be a recurring theme through the whole mod, that Siri is trying to be, she's trying her darndest to be the supportive best friend and help uplift Femc for the whole thing, which I think is a cute dynamic, by the way. I kind of like this reimagining of Sayori and Femc's friendship from the original, when MC is like just kind of mean to her, calling her, insulting her constantly, dummy and so on. Especially down the line in this mod, you start to see why that would fall apart. Lol. Oh, right, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Anyway, moving on. It's alright, Termusa. There's no pressure here to do anything you're not comfortable with. As president of the club, it's my job to make sure this is a fun and comfortable experience for everyone. Thanks, Monica. Is it true you're all lesbians? That's a bit of a personal question. Sorry. It's okay, it's not a secret or anything, it's just an awkward first thing to ask. Yeah, sorry, Termusa's a bit socially awkward, but I promise she's really nice. Why do you want to know, Termusa? It's okay, you can tell them. Well, I think I might be a lesbian too. There you go. Here's the introductory, sort of the introduction to what the mod's going to be about. But we're going to get to the actual themes later. This line sets everything in motion. And I think I might be a lesbian too. I think. Maybe. I don't know. You think? How can you not know? No, Noski. For some people, it isn't so clear-cut. Sexual orientation is a different experience for everyone. That's right. For some people, it may take some time to figure out what label fits best for them. Yeah, that's kind of where Termusa is right now. She's figuring herself out, and I thought it might be good for her to meet others like her. I had no clue from the title, haha. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like some people, for some people it isn't clear cut. I incidentally, I'm aware of the Yuri used the word clear cut. No pun intended there. But no, for some people it isn't clear. Sometimes people take time to figure out what they like, who they like. It just takes some time, like interacting with people and figuring themselves out. And for some people, it's super obvious. I mean, like I'm heterosexual myself. Like I've always been attracted to women and girls, and like I've never felt anything towards boys or men. So it's like it's sort of clear cut for me. But for some people, it isn't that clear. Here's the stare at the camera of this mod relatively? What, because she's in the central position, or? Anyway, moving on. I thought it might be good for her to meet others like her. Aw, that's so sweet. It's okay, Termusa. Feel free to say as much or as little about it as you want. I promise this is a safe space to talk about it. Are you sure? You just said it was too personal. I mostly just wanted to know why you were asking first. Yeah, some people are real jerks about it. Like, they'll ask because they want to make fun of anyone who isn't straight. Exactly. Oh, no, nothing like that. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because I don't really know any lesbians. Aside from Sayori, of course. Well, now you know too, because I'm a lesbian. Yeah, lesbian, high five! That's cute. I like that bit. I didn't exactly mean because of the central position? Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what you meant then. Not all of us are lesbians, though. I consider myself to be demisexual. That means I don't feel any sexual attraction unless I first form an emotional attachment to someone. And then, va-va-voom, watch out. I have trouble keeping up with her, and that's saying something. Natsuki, please don't be crass. I'm still trying to keep, someone has said that Yuri and Natsuki arguing sounds like an old married couple. So I'm trying to keep that energy going here. Trigger warning premarital high five. Yeah. Not like they were on their way to marriage, but because Sarah's not in Natsuki's arc still. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And as for Monica, she really likes cooking. What? Cooking? Yeah, because then you can work with cooking pots and pans. Because you're pansexual? Are you ever going to get tired of that joke? Nope. Well, anyway, as Sorry said, I'm pansexual. Yeah, it wouldn't entirely surprise me if I get some flack for that joke. Because I'm sure pansexual folks get that joke all the time. I tried to make Monica look suitably irritated by it. It might have, and the joke also might have worked better if Sayori told the joke more than once to help reinforce that, like, Sayori, stop it. Stop telling the same joke. It's just getting irritating. But I just left it to the imagination. Like, yeah, this is probably just something that Sayori does from time to time. Storm reference as usual? That was incredibly serious. Perfect as this? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Anyway, moving on. That basically means I'm attracted to people first, and whatever gender they are is secondary to that. Oh, okay. So it's like being bisexual? Sort of. I mean, there's definitely overlap between those two terms. If I'm honest, the difference is largely semantic. Basically, I decide the word pansexual describes me better than bisexual. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess that's the part I'm struggling with, deciding what label fits. And, yeah, that's... I mean... It's a question I've asked of a lot. Over the years, I'll periodically ask that question of in this LGBT-friendly spaces, like, what is the distinction between bisexual and pansexual? And yeah, I mean, they're basically functionally the same. They mean the same thing. Yeah, like every time I've had the words defined, they basically mean the same thing but with different wording, or they're parsing it out differently. At the end of the day, it's just up to each individual to decide which term they feel fits them better, like fits themselves better. Like each individual has to decide what label works for them. Label discussion imminent? Yeah. Not sure how I feel about remembering what all the segues are, lol. Yeah, sorry, I'll move on. Telling what label fits, because, Huh? I think you're gonna have to speak up there, Tormisa. I like girls. There, I said it. Natsuki's shitting grin there. It actually does say I like girls. It's like shrunk down font there. but I feel funny about referring to myself as a lesbian. That's understandable. Sometimes it takes time to decide how to describe yourself, and it's okay if you change your mind, if you decide later that a different term fits better. Speaking for myself, I used to tell everyone that I was asexual because I never felt any attraction toward anyone. Until one day, I was talking to a boy at school that I suddenly realized I really liked. Wait, what? A boy? You never told me about that. Well, there was no reason to mention it. Nothing became of it. You've been holding out on me. After all the times you told me to stop flirting with people, Prim and Proper Yuri has a boy crush. We don't have to talk about that right now. Anyway, it was a long time ago, before I met you. I only mention it now because it was the moment I realized I was experiencing emotions I'd never felt before, and I had to reevaluate how I describe myself. Aha, Yuri doing some difficult, uncomfortable self-reflection. Also, there's a bit of deliberate misdirection where she starts to say, until one day, ... Like you think she's about to say, until I met Natsuki, and then she goes on to put a boy instead. It's like, wait, what? Anyway. Moving on. So it's understandable if Termesa has changed her mind over time, or if she changes her mind again. Well, it's not like that. Not exactly. I mean, I've always liked girls, always, for as long as I can remember. And I've never felt anything for any boys. Well, there you go. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. Sounds like the opposite of straightforward, if you ask me. Sure, sure. So why does it feel funny to call yourself a lesbian? uh, you know, I hate to keep interrupting for snack breaks, but I do think I need to. I'm feeling my blood sugar crashing again. I have a little this fruit puree thing. I'm just gonna just down this really quick. Let me just turn the mic off for just I'll be quick about it. Hold on. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, I said it would be quick. Labels can be really tricky things. Yeah. and there, yeah, it can be tricky in a lot of ways because some people will say, "Oh, I don't like labels. I just, I like who I like or whatever." And then there's another school of thought that's like, "Yeah, but having a label helps you find community and find other people like you who may share the same views, same identity, and so on. So you can build community around that. So like ultimately, it's up to each individual to decide what label or lack of labels applies to them. But on some level, there is something to be said for having labels. Because human beings are social creatures, like to find others like ourselves. So, yeah. Hey, Hyena, or Hyena? Welcome to the stream. First time chatter. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We are playing my Pride-themed mod that I made for Doki Doki Literature Club. It is entitled Gay Lesbian Club because I didn't want to be subtle. What's the difference between being labeled and being categorized? Is that a rhetorical question? I mean, a label is opt-in, perhaps. Yeah. I mean, really, labeled or categorized. I mean, that's something that can be done for an individual or done to an individual, I suppose. But really, in an ideal world, it's up to each individual to decide what label fits themselves best. It can be weird and uncomfortable if other people are trying to put you in a box and say, you must be like this, and you must be this or that or whatever. It's not rhetorical, but there must be a difference. Label seems to have negative connotations. Compared to categorization. I'm not aware of categorization having a connotation per se. Label. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think label only has a negative connotation in the sense that some like people don't want others labeling them. They don't want to, like, people want to decide them for themselves what they are or who they are or whatever. And I think if someone else is applying a label to you which you disagree with or don't like, it's just an uncomfortable thing. I don't know. Anyway, moving right along. Femc just said that it feels funny to call herself a lesbian. So why does it feel funny to call yourself a lesbian? Oh, well, I mean, it's going to sound stupid. Hey, it's okay. No one's going to judge you here, Termusa. It's not stupid. I just, I don't know how to say it except I feel like I'm being a girl wrong. What? I don't know. I just, girls are supposed to like boys, right? Hey, let's be perfectly clear about one thing. There's no wrong way to be a girl. It would be just as okay for you to like only boys as it is for you to like only girls. And it would also be okay for you to like both, or for you to like neither. Here's your bisexual and asexual representation there. Whatever you feel is what you feel, and it's okay. Monica is correct on all counts. Yeah, holy crap. How can it be wrong to like girls? Girls are awesome. I like that line. You got that right, Noski. See, I told you it's okay. Oh yeah, incidentally, so one person expressed confusion over this. Every time Siri has lines in brackets, she's supposed to be whispering to FemC. Because remember, like, the whole premise behind this is that Siri's trying to get FemC out of her shell because she's like really shy about expressing herself. So she's just repeatedly trying to give her little pep talks, Anyway. But what if it still feels wrong? Where did you get this idea that it's wrong for girls to like girls? I don't know, everywhere, I guess. It's what everyone expects anyway. Ah, yes. The societal pressures of heteronormativity. Oh yeah, here's the other thing. Like, I had Yuri assume this pose, like clutching the lapel whenever I wanted her to look, like, I am an authority on this subject. Complete with like closed eyes and this the one raised eyebrow. I just think it's a good little condescending pose. Not that she necessarily intends to look condescending per se. It's just whenever she's talking about something she knows about. Anyway, the what? The notion that being heterosexual is what is normal or the default. It's quite prevalent across all media, books, movies, television, etc. It can make it difficult to properly reflect on what you actually feel when you're getting this pressure from all directions to be a certain way. And yeah, no, this comes back to what I was getting at before about some people. It's hard to land on a decision about what label fits or whatever. Like, I have a friend who, confirmed lesbian who's been in a same-sex relationship with another woman for years, and to the point they got married and adopted a kid together. Like, sorry, I think I said adopted. I think they might have done in vitro fertilization. Anyway, the point is. Like she's very much interested in women, but in the past she did have boyfriends because there was all this pressure of that you have to find a boy or you have to find a man, you have to settle down and get married to a man, and she just had short-term relationships with boys that she just wasn't really that interested in, but it took her time to figure out that, oh, right, women, boom, okay, that's what I want, and she has a fairly accepting family too, like she like it's not like she has a family who's like not understanding of the existence of lesbians. There's just so much societal pressure that comes from all directions, like family members, it comes from like media and TV and movies. Like it's really common for like movies, for example, to have a romance subplot shoehorned in where the male main character with like the only female character in the show just are drawn together for no particular reason, or like they have some kind of forced romantic interaction, even if there's like no chemistry between them and there's no reason for it. It's just like that sort of that heteronormativity is just really prevalent. Um, and growing up in that environment, she had some difficulty coming to terms with the feelings that oh yeah, she actually likes women better. Again, like speaking for myself, I didn't have that experience. I've just always been interested in women, but I understand and recognize that for some people it's not that clear, and like all the politics surrounding LGBT folk can also make it really difficult to come to that sort of realization. Anyway, as a wise Reddit meme once said, if your show can't afford to realistically develop a romantic subplot, it probably doesn't need one. Yeah, fair. Anyway, moving on. I felt it myself. It's why when I met that boy all those years ago, I immediately latched onto him. There's a feeling of, aha, this is finally what I'm supposed to be. I acted a little embarrassingly around him as a result, if I'm honest. It took time and self-reflection to realize that I was wrong, that he was just a passing infatuation. You're saying it was wrong for you to like a boy? Not exactly. I'm sure he was very nice, but I wouldn't have wanted to pursue a relationship based solely on the fact that he was the first boy that caught my eye. People are complicated. People are multifaceted. People are different in every way possible. To me, it just doesn't make sense to get fixated on someone just for their gender. And ultimately, I'm glad I had that period of self-reflection, because it helped me realize how much I appreciate Noski. You smooth talker, you. I love you. I love you too. That's cute. Can't be a gay kid without being examined. Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, even in cases where, like, a gay person might be trying to come to terms with those feelings, they get the kind of pressure of, it's probably just a phase or whatever, or they get, told to downplay it or whatever. But yeah, I like Yuri's little analytical, not just analytical way of talking, but like she just strikes me as someone who would be, who just find fascination in how wide and varied the world is. Like, people are different in every way possible. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like she seems like someone who can see beauty in you can see beauty in mundane things. Like she's and I just kind of like that characterization of it. Like, I'm reminded of there's a movie called American Beauty. One of the characters is someone who's like that, and that he's able to find beauty and mundane things. Like at one point in the movie, he says, "Do you want to see the?" He's got a camera constantly because he's like recording everything because he wants to capture the beauty at all times. And at one point he asked, "Do you want to see the most beautiful thing I ever filmed?" And it was a picture of a plastic bag blowing in the wind, or a video of the plastic bag blowing in the wind, and he like categorized it differently. Like he's talked about it like it was like there was some mischievous spirit who wanted to come out and play, and he just talked about like this is the moment I realize that there's beauty everywhere if you look for it. I don't know. That's something that um, it's something that stood out in my mind about the movie. It was a sweet little scene. A lot of people get, I'm gonna say, understandably hung up on the fact that in that movie, the one of the main point of view characters is a middle-aged guy who is deeply infatuated with a high school girl, which is, yeah, it's pretty creepy. Um, but there's a lot of other like really interesting things going on in that movie that make it memorable for me. But and like that whole idea of finding beauty in mundane things is I don't know. I just really like that idea. Anyway, moving right along. Well, it's fine for you, I guess, but you don't understand. Understand what? I. It's okay, Tremisa. I know. I'm just scared. Oh, uh-oh. What's going on here? Just give us a sec here. Tremisa, listen. It's okay if you want to say it, and it's also okay if you don't want to say it. No one here is going to judge you either way. I know, but I came here to say it, and I'll feel bad if I don't. Okay, but I just want you to know I support you no matter what. Thanks, Siri. There you go. It's Siri continuing to be, best friend material, like trying to be supportive here. Sweet. Anyway, all right. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm trans. I was born as a boy. Here we go. We're getting closer to the real theme of the mod, and this is conveniently very close to the halfway point of the mod. Incidentally, one of the criticisms raised to the mod was that it tries to cover too many bases, like it tries to cover too many topics in a short span of time, and that I probably should have zeroed in like on the trans issues, which I mean, in some ways, okay, fair point, but if I do just zero in on that point and not have anyone talk about anything else, it's either going to be a really short mod or it's going to have a lot of unnecessary padding. Either way doesn't really suit me. I like to think that it supportive whisper trademark. Yeah. I mean, I like to think I like to think it works better like this. Working through topics a bit at a time, while having a bit of banter here and there. Anyway, moving on. Trans, I was born as a boy. Slight pause. Okay, thanks for letting us know, Termisa. Jeez, is that all? I thought you were going to say you're dying or something. I, for one, feel honored that you trust us enough to tell us. Yeah. Incidentally, Monica's line, thanks for letting us know, that's lifted from, there's a webcomic called Questionable Content. It's a slice of life comic which takes place in the near future, because I guess that has a bit of a science fiction bent to it, because there's like robots around and artificial intelligences, but largely it's just a slice of life comic about a bunch of characters who are friends and so on. And there's a trans character in there, and yeah, and at one point she reveals that she's trans, and the immediate reaction is, okay, thanks for telling me. Just as an example of positive reaction to that sort of reveal, because it doesn't have to be a huge deal, like I understand it's really scary to come out because you don't know how people are going to react. Some people react very negatively, as the comment section of the post for this mod indicates. So it's potentially very scary, you know. Anyway, moving right along. Oh, it does work better. It's halfway between an actual scene and a PSA mod, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean that's what I was going for. Um, like I didn't want to go all the way PSA mode, like with Sarah Says No to Suicide. I did want it to be like an actual scene with people talking and have the dialogue more or less flow like actual dialogue, and and including banter about other stuff along the way. Like I don't want it to just feel like the characters are talking at the camera about LGBT issues. I understand if it feels that way. I wanted to try to move away from that format. Like TLC, like Monica's Route, I feel like looking back at it, it has a bit much of that. Monica preaching at the camera or whatever. There's still a fair bit of that in here, but I also wanted it to feel a bit more like a scene. Anyway, moving on. That's all you have to. That's all you have to say. There you go. That's how it's done, Dev. If you're still there, I haven't seen you comment in a while. Anyway, that's all you have to say? Huh? Was there something else? I don't know. I just expected a different reaction, I guess. Yeah. We're gonna circle back to this. MC was sincerely scared about how they were going to react. Anyway, moving on. I told you it'd be okay. Hey, remember what I said about this being a safe space? I can see that this is difficult for you to talk about, so I want to remind you it's okay to tell us as much or as little as you want. Okay, well, something I've kind of been figuring out about myself for a long time. When I talked to my doctor about it, he prescribed puberty blockers to help give me time to decide if I actually want to go through with transitioning. And then I switched to hormone replacement therapy about a year ago. It's been alright so far. I feel a lot better living as a girl than as a boy. But there are some things that aren't quite what I expected. Did you get the surgery yet? Natsuki! What? That is a very personal and invasive question. Sorry, Tremusa. Natsuki can be a bit crude at times. Hey, I don't need you to apologize for me. Fuck yes, anyway. I thought the whole point of transitioning was to get the surgery. Not necessarily. If by TLC camera preach you mean her bisexuality monologue, then the whole thing's made worse by the fact that she's so hypocritical about acceptance. Well, yes, that is part of the issue. That is indeed part of the issue. What can I say? Like, the Monica's root of TLC has flaws. I mean, I can say that if I did it over again today, I would write it differently. But really, if I was to do it over again, I probably wouldn't write it at all. I'd just make a different mod. It's just it's a product of its time. It was 5 years ago. I was new to modding, and I had some things I wanted to express, and it just kind of came out that way. You're not here to bash on TLC? Yeah, okay, fair enough. Let's move on. Yeah, in my opinion, Monica preaching at the camera in Act 3 pose is very in character. Yes, exactly. No, that's what I was thinking when I wrote it. That was the whole. It didn't stand out to me personally. Yeah. No, exactly. It's that whole scene in TLC was basically based on Monica's Act 3 monologues. Monologues? Like that's how she talks. So I just copied that over into there, and I just it made sense in my head. I understand why it rubbed people the wrong way. So I just wanted to move away from that format a bit. That's all. Yeah, Act 3 pose is literally the most camera preachy you can get in DDLC, so it's not really too bad. Anyway, moving on. Not necessarily. Being transgender can take many forms. Some prefer to change what clothing they wear. Some take medication. and some have surgical alteration. It varies from one individual to the next. Not all trans people get gender reassignment surgery, but their transition is just as valid. Sorry. Yeah, I'm 4 hours into the stream. This always happens after I've been at this for a few hours. I start, my throat starts getting increasingly rough. Anyway, I was going to comment on, puberty blockers. That's the thing. This is, one of the huge talking points that conservative folks love to get at, though, these days, is this notion that the trans community is like recruiting people or grooming children, yada yada yada, trying to get them to transition at early ages or whatever. But this is there do exist medications which delay puberty, which are like they're totally reversible. You know, they're basically what I'm saying is it is possible to give the kid time to decide what they want with regards to transitioning. You know. Like it's not something particularly when it comes to like surgical intervention, that's not something you want to rush into, you know. And there are many different kinds of surgeries, not just the the downstairs surgery, like things like you know, facial feminization surgery, things like that. You know, they're like there are all kinds of other plastic surgeries that some people do to make them more either feminine or more masculine, depending which direction they're going in. Excuse me. Because, oh yes, that's worth mentioning, by the way. There do exist trans men, i.e. people who are assigned female at birth, but transition to being men later on. The media popularizes, you know, men transitioning to women, but it does go the other way too. And there are also some trans people who are non-binary, who don't identify as either male or female. You know, they're just neither. He's talking about the quote, the surgery unquote now, not very based. Yeah, no, exactly, not based. Don't ask trans people about the surgery. I mean, I don't know, unless you're like really close friends or something, and they're comfortable about talking about that, because yeah, it's a very, very difficult, very personal thing, and it might be about you know, very personal, very intimate body parts, and it's just like it's not something you're gonna talk about with strangers, you know. But that's the thing. Again, because a lot of people don't have experience with real world interaction with trans people, they sort of fail to see them as people. They see them as this abstract concept. They see them as this other. It's this weird thing. So they don't treat them with the same respect that they would with I'm going to say a cisgender a person about similar topics, and they start asking really invasive questions that you don't talk about with people you don't really know, you know. Here we go. Holy shit, it's 40:30. Okay. Well, hey, it's 7:30 a.m. here. Yeah, my sleep schedule is like even more out of whack. Okay, I will have to depart with much haste. Very, very bad. Have fun, guys. Okay. I'll see you, ProCube. Thanks for sticking around. I mean, hey, before I switched over to this mod, I said, hey, is it okay with you? Do you want me to do this now, or should I wait until tomorrow? Tomorrow, as in Sunday. I was perfectly fine with doing this later, but what's up, stranger? What's your dick status? Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Let's carry on with this. Hold on. Since when do you know so much about this stuff? I've been spending a lot of time interacting with trans people on online forum lately, and I've learned a lot from them. It's really quite fascinating. And why? Is this the first time I've heard about this? I'm never going to live this down. It was a forum dedicated to a webcomic. Aha! I knew it! After all those comments you made about my manga, you've been a closeted comic enjoyer. It was a very well-written webcomic. Well, Yuri. I'm just learning more and more about you today. We can talk about this later. All I'm saying is that whether or not to get surgery is a very difficult and very personal decision. It's none of our business, unless Tormusa chooses to talk about it. Which webcomic? For me, it was Chaos Comics. That's Chaos, but with a K. Comics. Also starts with a K, ends with an X. Seriously, look it up. It's a good comic. I mean, that was my introduction to a lot of LGBT stuff. Because basically, the webcomic is in my imagination. I imagine that's what comic Yuri is talking about. I mean, the comic is finished now. It's basically it's the same story told from 8 different perspectives of 8 different characters, and like it shows. It just alternates between points of view and of the characters, and each person's story like advances the plot further, and they're varying flavors of LGBT basically, yeah, and there is a trans woman among them, and also a trans man, and that was my introduction to the concept of, hey, trans men exist. And I was I remember just kind of being blown away by I don't know, just the fact that, like, wait, that guy's trans? Wait, what? And yeah, talking to the people in the forum, like there was a private forum that I was able to get membership to, that where I interacted with people there, and I learned a lot about like the LGBT community. It's very informative. That's you drew the short stick and had to be the asshole. Yeah. No, that's true. I did make Natsuki a bit of an inconsiderate asshole there, for purposes of expressing that point. Sounds interesting. Yeah. It's a neat comic, like, because it really humanizes all of the characters, and makes you feel for them and their experiences, what they're going through, and so on. And everyone gets their happy endings in the end. I mean, there are ups and downs in it. But yeah, it's a sweet little comic. I recommend it. It's good stuff. Yeah. Which I'm I don't know if I should. It's not exactly that. Like I intend to suggest that comics are the best source of information about LGBT material. But then again, like, I don't know if there really is a quote-unquote best source. I mean, I don't know. There's gonna be tons of different ideas about it. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's move on. We're almost 4.5 hours into this thing. We have to finish this mod before. I'd like to see if I can finish it before the 5-hour mark. We'll see. Oh yeah, incidentally, notice that I never actually confirmed whether FMC got any surgery here. That was I deliberately omitted that detail. Thanks, Yuri. You're welcome. If you don't mind my asking, have you had much interaction with the trans community, Termisa? Not really. I kind of just learned about it from my doctor and also the specialist he sent me to. You're very fortunate that your doctor's understanding of trans issues. I've heard quite a few horror stories from other trans people who weren't so lucky. Anyway, the reason I asked is that you used the phrase born as a boy instead of the now more commonly used phrase assigned male at birth. Oh, yeah, I've heard that before, but I wasn't really assigned anything, was I? I mean, I was kind of just born that way, right? Well, it's a matter of perspective. When a baby is born, their gender is typically declared based on their genitalia. But when it comes to real-world interactions with people, obviously no one is looking at each other's genitals. People typically get treated as a particular gender based on other cues, such as how they look, or dress, or act, or sound. Our society has a lot of ideas about how people should be treated based on these superficial characteristics. But there isn't actually anything inherently gendered about them. And in that context, gender ends up being something of a social construct. So the phrase assigned at birth is based on that concept. Whatever gender you were told you are at birth may not accurately reflect how you feel or how you identify yourself. And it is ultimately up to each individual to decide how to present themselves to the world. Yeah, there's Yuri's long-winded commentary on gender and gender expression. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like the I'm gonna say transphobes out there who want to discount and discourage like trans people's experience or just trans people in general. We'll go on about things. Oh, you can't change your gender. Whatever body you're born with, you're stuck with, or it's in your genes, or yada yada yada. And you know, like when you like see someone, when you meet someone in the street, you'll refer to them as Miss or Sir, or you know gendered terms based on how they look. You don't check their chromosomes. You don't check their like what genitalia they have. You know, like there are like tons of other social cues or visual cues or whatever. You know. So yeah, social construct. It's based on social conventions of how you expect people of a certain gender to look, and really, ultimately, it's as a general rule, I call people whatever they want to be called. If someone says my pronouns are she her, then I'll refer to her as her. There's no reason not to. Like it's just rude otherwise. But I don't know. Some people have to treat it like it's like I don't know, putting them in their place or sticking it to them. Like, oh, you can't force me to use the pronouns. Like it's some kind of power play or something. It's like no, buddy, you're just being rude. At best, you're just being rude. So, I don't know. Oh well. Anyway, moving right along. Okay. I guess that makes sense. Of course, it makes sense. Yuri said it. I love it when you show off how smart you are. Oh, you flatter me. It's nothing, really. And you definitely have to show me that comic when we get home. Yes, dear. So cute. It is cute. I think the important point Yuri is getting at here is if he's. By the way, this is the new one of the new parts that I added in this version. If you say you're a girl, then you're a girl. That's good enough for us. Yeah, I still date you. Natsuki, please stop flirting. Relax, I'm just joking. You know what makes me uncomfortable when you flirt with people in front of me. Oh, hey, no, I didn't mean it like that. I just wanted to make her feel better about being trans, that's all. I'm sorry. It's just, this club is the only place I can talk about liking girls. You know, because I can't talk about it at home. I know, but there's a difference between saying you're a lesbian and making a pass at someone. You're right, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. I love you, Yuri. And I love you too, Natsuki. Hugs? Okay. Aw. Yeah, I added that little bit there. Someone said they wanted Natsuki to have a bit more characterization and not just she's mostly there to just be flirty comic relief, and as BG Sweet pointed out, to be a bit of an asshole with the surgery question. There's a bit of Natsuki redeeming herself. She is acting that way because she feels restricted at home because she can't talk about being a lesbian, or presumably around her dad. You know, she doesn't say it in so many words, but that was the implication I'm going for. There you go, character depth. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. Well, all that stuff about gender is nice, but aren't you forgetting something? Hmm? Aren't I invading your space? Invading my space? I mean, not your space, but women's spaces in general? Hold on. Invading women's spaces? Where'd you hear that from? I was chatting with someone online, and she said that I'm just some pervert trying to trick women into letting me get close to them. But I'm not like that. I promise I'm not like that. I'm not trying to trick you or anything. That's why I wanted to be honest right from the start. It's okay, Tormisa. You didn't do anything wrong. Yeah, whoever you were talking to was the one in the wrong. Sounds like homophobic bullcrap to me. She said she didn't have a problem with lesbians, just with trans people. And it's transphobic bullcrap, same thing. I agree with Natsuki. That whole idea that trans people are predators is a stereotype. A very damaging stereotype. And here we go. Here's the... I'm going to say the real theme of it. Well, I mean, we're getting to the real theme. Like, we're not going to tie the real theme of the mod until the end. But this is getting into the real conflict here that the mod is about. Also noticed that the music stopped. The music stops for I felt like it was important to not have the happy bouncy music playing while she's talking about being accused of being a predator and so on. But yeah, the music stops for a bit of an uncomfortably long time. It sort of couldn't be helped, in my opinion. I don't think there's any song that would have been fitting here. I mean, unless I go looking up for a new song, but then that would make it really stand out, and there's just no ideal solution for it, really. But yeah, this whole talking point about trans people being predators is it's this major like homophobic talking point that gets brought up a lot. It's bullcrap. I mean, okay, strictly speaking, it's possible for people from any walk of life to be a predator. Okay, whether they're cis or trans, you know, gay, heterosexual, whatever. Like, it's possible for anyone to be a predator. Like you can't make an assumption that someone is or isn't a predator based on their sexual orientation or their gender identity or whatever. You know, that's the point I'm trying to get at here. Um, but the transphobes have this insistence that someone being trans is like automatic proof that they're trying to invade spaces that they're not supposed to be in, and that the only reason they must be doing it is for predatory purposes. It's bullshit. It is. It's it's just as Minsky says, it's transphobic bullcrap. Um, so yeah, so I wanted to press upon that point. I mean, I don't know. Like, if I wanted to go into more detail about it in the mod, might have liked to have that phrase about, okay, it's possible for people of all walks of life to be predators, or whatever. It kind of might be laboring the point too much, though. If I put that in the mod, I figured I'd just leave it for the comments. But the comments are a bit of a cesspool anyway, so whatever. It goes in this dev commentary instead, I guess. But yeah, my point is, like, the same point I've been making all along is that trans people, just like any other people, they're just trying to live their lives. They're just trying to they're just going on about their lives. And this idea that they automatically must be predators is just yeah, a damaging stereotype, and it's very prevalent too. Like, this stereotype stretches to, like, the highest levels of society, like the I'm going to bring up American politics again, but it's kind of the same all over the world, really. Like the whole bathroom bill controversy that you know, trying to force trans people to go into bathrooms they don't identify with, because of out of concerns or whatever. It's like it puts them in a really difficult and uncomfortable situation over something as simple that most people take for granted. Like I'm gonna say, like, cis people, they don't generally don't have to worry about being accosted or assaulted just for going to a washroom that someone perceives that they're not supposed to be in or whatever. Which again brings another point, like yeah, trans people frankly are more likely to be the victims of assault than the perpetrators of it in the situation. You know, going into the the other gendered washroom. It's like what am I trying to say here? As I go on my another rambling tangent here. I mean, it's yeah, this is extra reason I probably should have left this to the next day, because I'm feeling that low blood sugar again. Maybe I'm gonna get something sugary to drink just so I can sustain myself. I'll be right back. I'm in Europe, so it's nearly lunchtime here. Okay. Well, maybe you can watch while you eat. I hope. Nice to still have some viewers here. um, yeah. Shoot, there was a point I wanted to make here. Um, I mean, in addition to all the points that I was already making, there's something else that particularly I wanted to say. Um, I mean, basically the fact that this makes the whole something simple that cisgender people can just take for granted, like going to a public washroom, it suddenly becomes this really stressful, fraught thing for trans people. They don't know how people are going to go, how are going to react, because they're kind of in a no-win situation. Like they're probably going to get criticized no matter which bathroom they go in, and when they just like they just want to go pee, it's yeah, I don't know, it's a bit of a mess, and it's just because of all this othering that goes on of trans people, and it comes from people who don't have real world interaction with trans people. They don't realize that they're just regular people. They're just trying to go about their day. They just they see them as this weird other thing, and they're not understandable, and therefore they must have some weird ulterior motives or something. Trans men are totally ignored by the bathroom debate. Yeah, even by trans folks. Yeah, that's another point. Yeah, who claim that men and women's bathrooms is their only concern. Yeah, there's that's a whole thing in itself. Um, yeah, that's a whole thing. I could go on about that too. About the fact that the media puts a lot of focus on trans women. um, yeah. Anyway, I should move on before I get too bogged down here. Well, I'm sure I'll have more to say shortly. But she's a feminist, so I figure she knows about that stuff. Oh, geez, you've been talking to TERFs? That explains so much. She said she's not a TERF. She's a gender-critical feminist. Same thing. Tormuse, look, I'm a feminist, and I'm telling you right now, you're not invading our space by being here. You have as much right to be here as anyone else. Here we go. That's right. I'm gunning for the gender-critical feminists now. Also known as TERFs. Same thing, as Monica said. I mean, the TERF is an acronym for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. It is a term that they came up for themselves, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. They consider themselves feminists that want to exclude trans people. That's what they're all about. They specifically exist to attack trans people. Somewhere along the lines, that became unpopular. TERF became associated with like some really negative people, because for the simple reason that their whole movement is built around hate. Hate of trans people. I mean, as much as they try to dress it up in other terms, that's what it comes down to. In any case, they've tried to rebrand themselves in recent years. Excuse me. They call themselves gender critical now, gender critical feminists. That's why I prefer fartiter feminism appropriating radical transphobes. Yeah, I've heard that one. It's a good acronym. Yeah. But what am I trying to say here? Yeah, they try to reframe the discussion as saying, "Oh, I'm not transphobic. I just have concerns." That's the phrase that gets used a lot. I have concerns about this, that, or the other thing. And they'll make up all kinds of excuses for it, but it comes down to the same thing that I've been getting at. It's um, just general failure to recognize that they're like trans people are just fairly ordinary people. Actually, the trans people that I've interacted with are generally like very intelligent people. I've actually wondered if like intelligence translates into like experiencing their gender more vividly, and therefore experiencing like gender dysphoria more vividly, or something like that. I mean, that's just speculation on my part. It's just something I've observed. Um, yeah, don't actually know about that. Um, but what am I trying to say here? Um, yeah, probably the world's most famous gender critical feminist at the moment is J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter. Um, it, at this point, with all of the quote unquote controversy surrounding my mod so far, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if J.K. Rowling swoops in and attacks me over this mod. That would be kind of hilarious and kind of fitting, and it is totally the kind of thing that she would do. Because I am a heterosexual cisgender male, um, preaching about feminism. Uh, oh, she would come down on me like a ton of bricks. I'm sure, you know. Um, this is like, oh, this is what women have to deal with. Men wanting to dictate what feminism is. And honestly, if I'm being honest, okay, there is a grain of a fair point in there. Like, uh, arguably, as be a mark of honor, yeah, exactly. Uh, like, as a cisgender heterosexual male myself, is it really my place to make declarations about what feminism is? Um, because the whole reason it's called feminism is it's about uplifting women, because women have been, historically been very hard done by in society. um, like, I like to think that generally the movement is about achieving equality between the genders or across the genders. You know, um, but in my view, you can't do that if you're tearing down another group like trans people. Like, that's not what feminism is supposed to be about. I mean, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself because Monica's about to say the same thing. But heck, you know what? I should probably just move on because Monica is going to iterate some of the points that I'm making right now. So let's just we'll circle back to that. But what if she's right? I mean, when I started taking hormones, I thought I was going to switch to liking boys, like I'm supposed to, but I didn't. I still don't feel anything for boys, and she says she feels unsafe around people like me, and I don't mean to scare her. I don't mean to hurt anyone. I don't want to be a bad person. Teresa, I didn't know you felt that bad. Do you maybe want to talk about this in private? No, I have to face this. I don't want to run from my problems anymore. It's not a problem, though. Or if it is, it's that other girl's problem. She needs to get over it. Get some therapy or something. Nowski, what have I told you about being tactful? What? It's true. How can anyone be scared of Tarmusa? She's shaking so much she looks like a strong wind would blow her away. I just don't know how to be any different. I just wish I could be normal so I don't have to deal with this. I wish there wasn't something so wrong with me. Tarmusa? Are you, whisper. What? No, I'm not thinking of killing myself. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to make sure. I care about you and I don't want you to be sad. It's nothing like that. I just don't know what to do. And I wonder if I should go back to living as a boy again. Is that what you want? I don't know. I just don't know. And finally the music comes back. Yeah. So, yeah, a few things going on there. This is I mean this is like the height of the conflict here. This is like it's FemC's internal conflict because she's like filled with shame and self-loathing from what other people said about trans people, you know? And watch me turn that shame 180 around to the theme of pride, and then we have the actual theme of the pride-themed mod. But seriously though, yeah, so so there's that, and this sort of hints at like everything up to this point has been building to this. Like FemC came into this situation because she wanted to confront what the gender critical folks told her online, and you know she's afraid of what it means about her and so on, and and sort of, you know, again, just trying to figure things out about herself and so on. Incidentally, this is a point where, like Natsuki's comment here about how she's shaking so much, yada yada. I made a deliberate choice in this mod to not have any internal monologue. There isn't a single line of internal monologue in this whole thing. It's all it's all spoken dialogue. So sometimes I have to have characters say what's physically happening or animate them. So that's me trying to work around that constraint. Also, excuse me. Yeah, Sayori being suicidal herself is immediately worried that Termiusa might be, you know, or FemC might be suicidal, you know, because she's going on about feeling like there's something wrong with her and so on. But yeah, I had her. When I was writing this, I was like, I don't think I should have Sayori just say that out loud. Like, maybe, you know, I had her whisper it instead. Just wanted to get that across. Anyway, here's where Sayori becomes a little beacon of light and comfort. Here we go. Termisa, you and I have known each other our whole lives, and I remember what you were like when you were living as a boy. You're always so quiet, so distant, and I remember how much that changed when you were first diagnosed with gender dysphoria. You were so excited. You were like, the way I've been feeling makes so much sense now. And I remember how happy you looked the first time you put on a dress, and I remember that night we were trying to pick out a new name for you. Yeah, and some of your ideas were really silly. That was so much fun. Ever since you switched to living as a girl, it's like the light's been turned on inside you. Do you really think you'd be happier going back to living as a boy? No, but it's not just about me. I don't want to hurt anyone. Teresa, you're the sweetest, most sensitive person I've ever known. I know you'd never hurt anyone like that. Yeah, don't change what you're doing just because some jerk on the internet told you to. Yeah. Few things going on there too. That I wanted to comment on. First off, oh yeah, the comment about how excited she was at being diagnosed with gender dysphoria. That's based on a a trans friend of mine, actually one of the first trans people I interacted with, someone I knew since before she transitioned. And I remember her expressing excitement about being diagnosed with gender dysphoria. I think partly because partly it was like confirmation of, aha, yes, this is what I've been feeling, this is what I've been experiencing. It's good to be recognized, and also partly because, aha, this is the first step in correcting that and transitioning to a life that'll make me happier, kind of thing. That whole notion. I yeah. The point about gender dysphoria is in itself a potential source of conflict, because there are a number of complaints from the trans community that you shouldn't have to have gender dysphoria in order to transition. It's just a bit of medical gatekeeping to try to keep people out of transitioning if they want to, which, fair enough. It's because it's yeah, I mean, like like very recently, Abigail Thorne of Philosophy Tube fame. She's the showrunner for a YouTube channel called Philosophy Tube, where she talks about philosophy subjects in an unusual and entertaining way. It's good. It's a good channel. Good stuff. Yeah, she came out as trans about like a year and a half ago now, I think. Like the first 6 years of her channel, she identified as male, and now she's female. And she recently did a video where she talked about the difficulties inherent in transitioning, like artificial difficulties that society puts, they put barriers in the way of, like basically you have to jump through these medical hoops and prove to doctors or specialists or whatever that really you have you need the transition to transition to lead a more fulfilling life, and typically the doctors who have to decide these things are cisgender people who have no frame of reference for understanding what the trans people are experiencing or going through, and they're just passionately reading off a checklist or whatever, and you might be at the mercy of you might end up being at the mercy of a transphobic doctor who doesn't really care about your issues or what you're feeling, what you're going through, and so on. And it's basically the upshot of it is like she expressed a lot of resentment about the whole idea of because I mean this whole notion that you have to have this condition in order for your transition to be valid, and it's just like I said, lots of medical gatekeeping going on there. Not the least because it's also been said that it could go the other way. It's not just a sense of dysphoria, like that the classic, oh, I feel like I'm in the wrong body. It could go the other way, a feeling of gender euphoria, like transitioning to the other gender makes you feel extra happy, rather than more than the idea of being in the gender that you were born as, assigned at birth. It makes you unhappy, which, fair point, fair enough. I mean, in my opinion, I think Abigail might have overstepped when she went as far as declaring that gender dysphoria isn't a real thing. It's a made up term that by doctors for purpose of medical gatekeeping, which um, that's potentially a problematic thing to claim there, Abigail. You know, like yeah, love you, Abigail, but you might want to. You might not be speaking for the entire trans community when you say that. I mean, far be it for me, cisgender guy, to make declarations about what trans people feel, but I don't think it's fair to say that for any one person to declare, okay, gender dysphoria doesn't exist, 0 people experience gender dysphoria. Because obviously there are at least some trans people who have claims of feeling gender dysphoria. I've heard people go the other way too. I saw a video from this is gonna get me canceled. From Vosh, another YouTuber, VAUSH. He's he. I'm gonna say he has some problematic content. He has a penchant for making like sexist or other problematic jokes on the way to making his points. He's just got some problematic things to say, but he does have some interesting takes sometimes. And he had a comment where well, consider this: everyone experiences gender dysphoria, cis and trans. Like, who hasn't looked in the mirror and decided they don't like the way their body looks? You know, like men wishing they were more muscular, or women wishing they were more beautiful, or whatever. They might not necessarily experience it in the same way or the same degree as trans people, but I don't know. Maybe that's defining the word dysphoria too broadly. I don't know. I mean, for purposes of this mod, I mean, I considered getting into that topic of is gender dysphoria necessary to transition. That would have like greatly widened the scope of the mod if I had to get to that whole discussion. I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm 5 hours into the stream now. I'm rambling on at length about this. Again, cisgender guy here. Far be it for me to say that I speak for the trans people. But yeah, like, no group of people is all the same. Among trans people, there's going to be disagreement because everybody's different, you know. So you know, some of them are going to experience gender dysphoria, some of them are not. Some of them might claim to be experiencing it, even though they aren't, just because they want to have access to being able to medically transition. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's the whole question of about gender dysphoria is kind of a whole thing in itself. I'm just trying to present all sides of that discussion as best I can here, basically. It's complicated. But to simplify it, maybe overly simplify it, I think bottom line is, you know, if someone wants to transition, let them transition. Like, what's the harm? You know, let people live their lives. I mean, people get plastic surgery all the time. You know, like cis people, well, particularly rich cis people, I guess I should say. You know, adjustments to the way like their faces or bodies look. Um, why is it suddenly considered taboo when a trans person decides to alter their appearance? You know, it's just like I just on a very general level, like let people do whatever makes them happy. You know, it's like whatever. It doesn't hurt anyone to let them transition. So who cares whether they have gender dysphoria or not? Just whatever. Let them transition. Who cares? Uh, Moving right along from that point, though, I really like this image here. Remember that night we were trying to pick out a new name for you? That I don't know, something about that is just that's such a cute image to me. Like, best friends Sayori and Femsi, um, and Femsi like after being have a lifetime of being kind of despondent and distant. Uh, Opening up to Sayori and saying, "Hey, I've been thinking about transitioning, and if I'm going to do that, I should change my name to a more girly name." And then Sayori excitedly giving her all kinds of name suggestions. I don't know, and like making a game out of it. Like it's I don't know, it's just like kind of a cute image to me. It's very Sayori. Oh yeah. It's like a light's been turned on inside you. That's actually Monica's line from the original game, by the way. Ever since MC joined, it's like a light's been turned on, etc. Anyway, I need to use the washroom. I'm going to go do that. I will be right back. And I'm back again. Down to 4 viewers now. I will confess to being slightly annoyed that people are saying, "Yeah, play it now. Play the Pride mod now," and then they bailed. It's like You know, you guys, you realize I would have preferred to do this at another time when it was more convenient for people to watch. Oh well. um, anyway, moving right along. Yeah, you can watch it on the VOD, whatever. Yeah, moving right along. Yeah, don't change what you're doing just because some jerk on the internet told you to. You don't owe her that. If I may say a few words, the fact that you are attracted to girls is not, in itself, a problem. Some trans people change sexual orientation as a result of their transition, and some do not. It isn't a problem either way. Humankind is made up of infinite diversity and infinite combinations, and I, for one, think that is beautiful. Well said, Yuri. Yeah, instantly. Yeah, that's a quote from Star Trek. um, it's like a Vulcan saying, infinite diversity and infinite combinations. It's a quote that Jessie Gender is really fond of expressing. Jessie Gender being another YouTuber. She's a trans activist who also happens to really like Star Trek. So her channel's kind of a mix of like nerdy stuff and Star Trek stuff, and also like trans commentary. She's cool, but she's a bit verbose. She's speaking as an overly verbose person myself. I mean, she has a habit of trying to cover too many bases and ends up being very wordy. But I don't know, she's cool. Anyway, what was I gonna? Shoot, there's something else I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Yes, Yuri's comment here. People changing sexual orientation when they transition. That's a thing, apparently. From what I've heard from interactions I've had with the trans community, that yeah, some people process attraction differently, coming from a context of presenting as a different gender, which I think is kind of fascinating in itself. Yeah. Anyway, moving right along. Well said, Yuri. And Termisa, honestly, don't listen to those gender-critical types. They may call themselves feminists, but frankly, they give feminism a bad name. The feminist movement, at its core, is about promoting equality. You can't do that if you're tearing another group down. Isn't that what you're doing right now? Okay, I'm gonna go out on a limb and, geez, I better not get canceled for saying this. The gender-critical ideology is a hate group. They use the language of feminism to help them feel self-righteous about spreading their hate of trans people. Frankly, sometimes it makes me feel embarrassed to call myself a feminist because I don't want to be associated with them. That's not what feminism is supposed to be about. Your gender and sexual orientation don't automatically make you a sexual predator. That's blatant misinformation, just a bunch of fear-mongering nonsense. Yeah, that's, here we go. Like, that's the main point I'm trying to express in the mod here. Is more of me going after Rowling and the gender critical ideology in general. I mean, again, it's probably a little off for me, heterosexual cisgender guy, to be making declarations about what feminism is about. That heads Monica's line about I better not get canceled. That's basically her speaking for me there. Like, that's the awkward thing though. I mean, and this is how do I put this? Yes, I recognize that being, heterosexual, cisgender, white, male, able-bodied, so on. Like, I'm in a fairly privileged demographic. It's a little silly for me to complain about my place in terms of social justice or whatever. But you know, okay, like this is the part which makes it awkward to be, a good ally, and I don't, because the thing is, there are a lot of allies. I'm going to say too many allies out there, or self-described allies, I should say, who are a little too eager to pat themselves on the back for being a good ally. Is what I'm trying to get at here. Like, and it's when you get into accusations of like virtue signaling or whatever. That people want to put themselves out there and say, look at what a good person I am. Look, I'm being so good. Look at what a good ally I am. I'm being supportive. Yada yada yada. And it's like, well, A, it's insincere, and B, it's it fails to actually show actual support. When you're just doing it for your own, clout or whatever. And Pride Month. I mean, you see a lot in Pride Month. Like, like tons of corporations, like they put rainbows on stuff just because it's a thing to do. It's like the trendy thing to do, not because they actually care about allyship or being supportive of LGBT folks. The reason I'm saying is like yes, I want to be a good person, good ally, and part of being a good ally means listening to members of the group that you're trying to support. And this is where it gets awkward, because the members of the group don't always agree, because again, not everyone's the same. Even within a given group, there's going to be disagreements because everybody's different. Everyone's different in every possible way. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations, as Yuri pointed out. It's I may not be qualified to talk about feminism as a cis queer male, but you don't need to be in the target group to know what bigotry looks like. Yeah, and that's part of the point that I'm getting at. That's a big part of the point I'm getting at here. Exactly. Because that's the thing. Like, it makes it awkward for me to make declarations about what feminism is. Because there's disagreement amongst feminists. Like J.K. Rowling considers herself a feminist. She, as far as her postings and so on go, and all her personal claims, she believes that what she's doing is feminism, and that she's every time she attacks trans people, it's she's doing it in the name of feminism, and that's she's just trying to protect women from men who are trying to pretend to be women to invade women's spaces, yada yada yada. Massive air quotes around all that. And then there are other feminists who look at her and go, "Well, that's bullshit. That's not feminism. you're just trying to discriminate against trans people there, And and if you look at J.K. Rowling, like just look at her Twitter feed. For the past few years, it's been like 10% of her Twitter feed is dedicated to like promoting her books and movies and so on, like you would expect, and the other 90% is devoted to attacking trans people. Like she has a very singular mission going on in her life, whatever her reasons are her own. I mean, she wrote a whole manifesto that was like attacking trans people. I mean, ostensibly she's expressing concerns about trans people, that goes into her like her failed marriage and being being abused, being in a domestic abuse situation, uh, being in a place where she's struggling and in poverty and trying to find identity for herself and just generally being in a very vulnerable position, and she saying how she like the idea of transitioning might have had some appeal to her at some time, and as a way of making things easier or something, and she feels like and she has to express concerns about young boys and young girls might be getting pressured into transition when it's not the best solution or whatever. And she tries to frame it as though frame it as though she's trying to protect vulnerable people or whatever. Like she's trying to frame it as like she's trying to be the hero for these people who are going to be taken advantage of or something. That's the way she consistently frames it. But in practice, it's just this whole deluge, this years-long deluge of anti-trans rhetoric, that she has no problem attacking trans people for any reason. Like, no matter how she justifies it, it's what she's actually doing is just attacking trans people. She there's so many examples I could give, but aforementioned Jessie Gender is one of her most recent targets, by the way. I don't know if I should get into it. It's really stupid. The way Rowling attacks Jessie is just really stupid. She just wrote her tweet is just so utterly nonsensical. It just goes to show how far Rowling is into her own personal echo chamber. Because she's surrounded herself with other gender critical people, and she hears only their voices, and she's very convinced that she's right because she's surrounded herself with yes people, and anyone who disagrees with her is just a bad man who's coming after her because I don't know, can't handle her feminism or something. Which is why I say, like, it would be totally on brand for her to come after me, a small creator with, like, 100 followers, 140 followers. Wow, 140? Has it gotten that high? Wow. Or four. I think I have 400 something on my YouTube channel. Very small time creator is what I'm saying. She would not hesitate to come after me if she got wind of me. She's done it before. Like, let's be clear with that. She has done it before. And she has, like, millions of followers. She's sent her millions of followers. Like, she's, like, quote tweeted, like, small creators with a few hundred followers to condemn them. And then her millions of followers get wind of this person and then descend on them with a whole lot of hate. With all kinds of hate, up to and including death threats, which and the fact that she doesn't even denounce those death threats, and she can't claim she doesn't know what's happening. Like, she's trying to bully people she doesn't like off the internet. The YouTuber Lily Simpson suggested that Rowling radicalized herself after receiving pushback for her original views. Ooh. In the same way that the far-right orgs and cults suck in vulnerable people. That is a very interesting point, yeah. I can see that. That's totally understandable. Lily Simpson, you say? I'm going to have to look that up. I'm curious to know about that. Let me just write this down. Lily Simpson. I'm actually not familiar with Lily Simpson. So I'll have to look her up. Thank you. Shoot, what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, the main point I was trying to get at was with all these differences of opinion about what constitutes feminism, I, as a cisgender male, have to make a decision about which group of feminists I'm gonna agree with, and uh, I have to oppose J.K. Rowling in this case because holy crap, there's so many problems with the views she's expressing. And she's apparently okay with bullying and like death threats as long as they're being sent at people that she doesn't like. You know, I mean, she's perfectly open to complaining about bullying if she's perceives it being directed at herself or people she agrees with, and she definitely has a problem with death threats if they're being sent at herself. But she doesn't mind if they're being sent at people she doesn't like. She did a video about Graham Linehan, the ex-comedy writer, with the main difference is that Rowling is rich and successful enough to make being a virulent transphobe only part of a reputation. Yeah. Unlike Linehan, who ruined his career and marriage through his anti-trans activism. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with Graham Linehan. Yeah, he absolutely let his transphobia consume him to the point that there was like nothing left in his life but his transphobia. It's a shame, really. Like he uh, uh, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he arguably he did good stuff before that. I mean, like Father Ted was a funny show. Uh, it's yeah, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Rowling, on the other hand, is a world famous multi-billionaire. She's basically uncancelable. I mean, she can do whatever she wants, and it's not going to have a significant impact on her career. She's still a multi-billionaire. You know, she can write any book. She's written anti-trans. She like one of her latest non-Harry Potter books was like a murder mystery about uh, a man who dresses up as a woman to invade women's spaces to murder them basically. Um, it's a book which is built on transphobia basically, and yeah, um, she's put a lot of herself into this whole anti-trans line. Is basically what I'm saying. And that's the thing, you know. Through it all, she talks about herself as if she's the victim, and like victimizing herself, and that she's like only going on with this trans rhetoric or anti-trans rhetoric to defend herself. Look up the trans IT crowd episode if you're interested. Interesting. Okay. Trans IT crowd. Sure, why not? Here, I'll add that to the trans IT crowd episode. But yeah, like J.K. Rowling. Okay, yeah. Granted, yes, I know she came from poverty. I know she came from difficult circumstances. It, Living with an abusive husband had to absolutely suck. I mean, that's horrible. Like it's the kind of thing you don't wish on anyone. I can imagine that must have been like a really difficult emotional journey to come from that and to come back to a point where she could feel good about herself and so on. And I can sort of understand up to a point that maybe her desire to go after trans people was it just like on some level like it comes from a place of pain, and she feels like she wants to defend herself. You know, some kind, like maybe she gets some kind of emotional catharsis from this notion of protecting vulnerable people as she would have wanted to protect her when she was in a vulnerable place. But here's the thing, she's not in a vulnerable place anymore. She is rich and famous. She is a billionaire. She has a platform that's followed by millions of people. So, when she criticizes someone, she's not punching up as at this abusive she's acting as though she's punching up as some kind of abusive authority figure that's trying to push her down. When no, she's the one in power now. She's not punching up. She's punching down. She's punching down at the at vulnerable people who are now getting death threats sent at them and being bullied off the internet. Because that's what it comes down to. J.K. Rowling is a bully. By the best of possible interpretations, she's a bully who's hurting people who are in less privileged positions than her. And let's face it, basically everyone is in a less privileged position than she is because she's a world-famous billionaire, you know? So, so she's, yeah. What am I trying to say here? Yeah, she's I think I've made my point. Let's just move on here. Monica is, based Monica bashing the gender critical movement here. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen Monica this angry before. Sorry, I just feel really strongly about this. Especially because, Tormusa, you seem like a good person. You don't deserve to be torn down like that just for living in a way that makes you happy. That said, you're probably going to want to be a little more careful about who you tell that you're trans. If you just announce it to everyone you meet, you're inevitably going to run into people who want to hurt you for it, like your friend online. I don't want to be dishonest, though. I know. I'm not saying you should lie about it. Just be careful. Your safety and your mental health are important. Here. There's nothing to be ashamed of in being who you are, but not everyone is going to appreciate that. It's their loss, really. I can't imagine how they live like that, cutting themselves off from the wonders that the human experience can offer. Even if you didn't have gender dysphoria, what would be the harm in how you choose to present yourself? Yeah, that line right there, that's the closest I get to saying you don't need gender dysphoria to transition. I wouldn't have minded expanding on that point, but that's as far as I got with it. Anyway. But at the end of the day, everyone needs to find their own path in life, and it's best not to concern yourself with them. Instead, seek out the people who appreciate you for who you are. At least that's how I see it. So it's really okay? Yeah. Yeah, like Monica's point here about, be careful about who you share with. It's unfortunately a sad truth of anyone living under the LGBT umbrella that they frequently have to hide themselves. It shouldn't be necessary, but it's in its real world, it kind of is necessary, and it's not out of shame, just self-preservation. Because again, you don't know how people are going to react. They might react very badly, and you might be opening yourself up to a never-ending battle. Oh, along those lines, something I want to make sure I mention, because I failed to mention it in the actual mod, is it's very bad to out someone without their permission. If you don't have someone's permission, like if somebody's gay and or trans or whatever, and they didn't specifically give you permission to tell someone that they're gay or trans or whatever, don't spread that information around, because once you start spreading it, you don't know how much further it's going to spread. Like, even if you're telling someone that you think can be trusted, it's easy for that to get out of hand and reach people who can't be trusted, who will, who could potentially make that person's life a living hell, particularly if, word of it gets to their employer, for instance, and maybe their employer's, homophobic or transphobic or whatever. You never know, you could be making things very difficult for them. It's just, it's really best to let that individual decide who they're out to, because some people would rather compartmentalize it and keep it secret and from certain people. And again, it's not because it's out of shame, it's because of recognizing the reality of the world we live in, and that sometimes you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. So, anyway, moving on. So it's really okay? That's what we're all telling you. And is it okay if I join the club? Even though I'm a trans lesbian? And here we go. Here's Termisa embracing her, the fact that she's a lesbian. Here you go. Oh my gosh, of course it's okay. That's why I invited you here. Oh yeah, this line taken out of context, by the way, I can totally see some bigoted people using that to saying, "Oh, look how cringe this dialogue is." Oh well. Anyway, moving on. Of course it's okay. That's why I invited you here. We would be happy to have you here, Termisa. It would be a pleasure to make the acquaintance of such a beautiful soul. Now who's flirting, Yuri? I wasn't. I didn't mean it like that. Oh, relax. I'm just joking. Anyway, yeah, you seem pretty cool, Termisa. Seriously. This is a nice place to hang out if you want to be yourself. Yeah. This is a line that I added for this version, by the way. In the original game, by the way, Natsuki actually has a line about, "This is where I can be myself." Referring to the literature club. But this is sort of an added meaning here. Because, Natsuki can't talk about being a lesbian to her dad, and Femici, can't necessarily talk about being trans. So there you go. Maybe if you ask nicely, I'll even let you borrow my manga. Thank you. In that case, I think I would like to join. I think I'd be really happy here. Then let me be the first to say, welcome to the Literature Club, Termisa. Yay, I'm so excited. Come on, everybody. Group hug, group hug. Aww. Aww. Yeah, it wouldn't be a Tormuse mod if there wasn't a group hug initiated by Sayuri at some point. Yeah, fun fact, every one of my mods, except Storm, is the only mod I made which doesn't feature a group hug initiated by Sayuri. My heart. Yes. Yes, thank you, Chrisira. Yeah, I probably hurt the emotional momentum of the scene with all my interruptions, but it is a cute image. Thank you so much. I was so scared to come here. Oh gosh, I can't tell you how relieved I am. Thank you. Okay, I feel better now. Thank you. Yeah, this is the point where in the previous version, this is where the butt grab happened. I mean, MC had a line like, which one of you just grabbed my butt? And Natsuki is like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was Yuri. And Yuri's like, no, you got it right, Natsuki. And Yuri's like, it wasn't me. And then Monika's like, okay, that's enough hugging now. Um, let's just break this up here. Um, which again, at the time I wrote it, it seemed like a funny way to break up the tension after all the angst from before. And none of my playtesters objected to it. Maybe that's a sign it needed more playtesting. I mean, like I had already run it by three three trans playtesters. I mean, I showed it to a bunch of people. Like I didn't get it. I didn't get as feedback. I didn't get feedback from as many people as I might have liked, but I had enough positive feedback that I figured it was good enough to go forward with. Like I knew the butt grab was kind of iffy. I was like, should I have this here? Should I not? Like, kind of want to break up the tension, but also I can sort of see that it's an iffy thing. But none of my playtesters objected to it, so I was like, okay, I don't know, maybe it's okay. And then after the release of the mod, I did have a few people say like, yeah, that was a bit much. That wasn't exactly cool. And it's like, which fair enough. I have no problem taking it out. I was iffy about it to begin with, so. Yeah. Side note: there may have been an implication that Monaco is the one that did the butt grab because she's like blushing when she has her line. I mean, actually, pretty much everyone is blushing except for Sayori, who's like just carrying on innocently at that point. But I don't know, something about nobody being willing to admit to the butt grab. It just sort of amused me, I guess. But yeah, it considering we just had this whole conversation about trans people aren't it's not fair to assign the stereotype of trans people being predators or whatever. Having someone groped without consent on the tail end of that is kind of is just it's kind of icky. Yeah, it needed to be taken out. That's what I'm getting at. I'm down to 3 viewers here. Darn it. Okay, we're almost at the end. Let's breeze through this. Anyway, I think that's a good note to end today's session on. Hopefully next time we'll actually get to talk about literature for once. I like this implication that they never actually talk about literature in the literature club. Anyway. Okay, bye everyone. See ya. Ready to walk home, Termisa? Of course. Hey, how do you feel? I don't know. I mean, good, I think. I guess I just can't believe how well that went. I want you to know I'm very proud of you. Oh, there's nothing really to be proud of, though. Sure there is. I know how scary it is coming out. Didn't you start the club session by yelling about how gay you are? And here we are. We've come full circle, and that starting line, which I threw in there just because, here, Siri actually had a reason to do it. Which I actually really like how it fit in. Classic Siri, exactly. When you like at the beginning, that line thrown in there just seems like I don't know, as somebody put it, me being weirdly cringe, which yeah, I mean I'm just it's there to be like it's originally put in there just to be a silly line, you know. But then that the scene as it played out recontextualizes that whole thing, because Sari grew up with Femc, and like for most of their friendship, Femc identified as a boy, and it wasn't until very recently that she figured out that she's trans, and Sayori is just she's just got a big heart. She just wants to be as supportive as she can. She wants to help her adapt to living as a girl, and just gasp, you brick joked us. Oh yeah. It's a total brick joke. Well, maybe I don't know, a reverse brick joke, because it started as a joke but then had rationalization afterward, or something. Brick joke being the trope where you set something up at the beginning and then it doesn't have a payoff until much later. Or like, yeah. Anyway. But yeah, basically what I was getting at was coming into that context of Femsi just being very nervous and shy and unsure of herself and trying to figure herself out, and Sari and you throughout the mod, Sari's keep repeatedly over and over again reassuring her, it's okay, my friends are really nice, it's okay, you can talk about it, it's okay, because going into there, you can sort of imagine, like, Femsi needed a pep talk. Like, she probably needed a lot of encouragement to be there at the literature club in the first place. And Sayori was just trying to give her encouragement left and right. And Femsi is probably afraid of it, talking about it. And like, Femsi probably really struggling with that question of I'm attracted to girls just like I always was, but is it okay to call myself a lesbian just, because I'm a girl now? Because I'm just struggling with that feeling of but I identified as a boy before, but can I call myself a lesbian? Is that okay? And it's just having this whole internal struggle going on, and Sayori just tries to break through that by going hey everybody, I am so gay. It's okay to be gay, woo. Just to sort of break the ice and try to make Femsi feel more comfortable about it. Which also makes it a little funny that what Monica had to remind her, aren't you forgetting something? Our new member, I don't know, the idea that Sayori got so caught up in expressing her gayness that she forgot about her whole purpose there is a little funny to me. But yeah. There you go. Anyway, moving on. Well, I was mostly trying to make you feel more comfortable talking about it. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it worked. Does it get any easier? You mean coming out? Yeah. Kind of, I guess. The hard part is you can never really stop doing it. There are always going to be people who assume you're straight, and you never know how they're going to react if you tell them different. And yeah, it's a little scary every time, so sometimes it's easier to just not tell people. And that's why I'm really proud of you. You didn't have to do any of this, but you did even though you were scared. And I just hope you can be proud of yourself too. Yeah, so that's another thing. Something that a lot of people might not realize, that when it comes to coming out, you can basically never stop doing it. It'd be neat if you could just come out once and then that's it for the rest of your life. But no, I mean, it's sort of an exhausting I mean, from what I've heard, it's an exhausting process. You have to, coming out to family, coming out to friends, coming out to coworkers, coming out to strangers in the street, because our society generally expects everyone to be heterosexual and cisgender. So, Like I'm reminded of there's an anecdote from Ian McKellen, the actor who played. I mean, the roles that I'm most familiar with are Magneto from the X-Men movies and uh, uh, um, Gandalf from the Lord of the Rings movies. Um, no, he's an old man. He's like what? Is he like what 80? Like how old is he now? Ian McKellen age. He's 84 years old. Holy crap. Yeah, he's an old guy, and he's gay. Um, and he told a story recently about how he was in a cab going somewhere, and the cabbie asked him, "So, you married? You got any kids?" And Ian has to like actually goes like, "Do I have to come out to this random cab driver now?" you know, and it just puts into perspective like no matter how many times you do it, no matter how old you get, you still have to continue doing it. Like he's like a world famous actor, and he's still coming out to people. And so it's like, it's this exhausting thing. Like, and and there are gonna be some homophobes that say like, oh, you think you're special because you came out, like, oh, you try to be special, and it's like, well, actually, no, they're not doing it to be special or whatever. They're like a lot of them would rather not come out or be forced to come out on a regular basis, but they have to because that's the societal expectation. People expect them to expect everyone to be heterosexual, and they have to continue to do that anyway. Moving right along. I just hope you can be proud of yourself too. Proud of yourself too. Hey, here we go. Here, back to the theme of the overall theme of everything. Having pride in yourself. Whoa. Because it's Pride Month. Anyway. Huh. I guess I never really thought of myself as someone to be proud of. Yeah, I know what that's like too. I know how hard it is to feel any pride when there are people telling you to be ashamed of yourself, especially when those voices are coming from inside your head. That's why sometimes I just like to shut up louder than those voices. When people tell me not to be gay, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna act gayer. Gay pride! Hee Yeah. Yeah. Lesbian pride. Lesbian pride. And trans pride. Yeah. Hee hee. Thanks, Sayori. Um, yeah. There, and that's the other thing. Especially when those voices are coming from inside your head. Yeah, poor Sayori. She's, it's just me trying to tie it in with her depression there. Like, yeah, she probably does, like, her own mind is being a little hard on herself. This is peak Sayori here again, trying to use that experience to try to help Femc feel better about herself. She doesn't want anyone else to feel that sadness that she feels sometimes. And in turn, like during that whole scene when Femc's being so hard on herself, you just sort of imagine the inner turmoil that Sayori's going through. Like, oh no, my friend is being so hard on herself. Oh no, like because Sayori knows very well what that's like, that feeling ashamed of herself and so on. And she wouldn't want anyone to feel that way, especially not her best friend, And yeah. Anyway, thanks, Sayori. Thanks for everything today. That's what friends are for. Yeah. The end. Yeah. Little That was supposed to be a hug at the end, by the way. I don't know. It probably just looks like Siri's whispering in her ear again or something. But oh well. um, just wanted to leave a little, I don't know, romantically ambiguous, I guess. um, so people can read whatever they want into it. Are they friends? I mean, Siri just said they're friends, but MC or Femc is blushing, so maybe that's going to lead into being more than friends. I don't know. I'll leave it up to the audience's imagination where that was going at the end. Because when I was trying to think how to end it, I was kind of like, I kind of wanted to leave it ambiguous. I don't want to imply that they're about to get into a romantic thing, and I also don't want to directly say that it's not a romantic thing. It's just have some degree of romantic tension, I guess. That's yeah. Like I said, just leave it ambiguous. So there you have it. That was Gay Lesbian Club. Most controversial mod on the DDLC modding subreddit for some reason. It was just there to be like a sweet little mod about self-acceptance and a character who is feeling ashamed of herself for what she is, learning to turn that around into not only being okay with herself, but being proud of herself, and turning that into the whole Pride theme in honor of Pride Month. That was yeah. Pretty more or less like straightforward themes going on there, and I think and just there to be a wholesome, happy story. Yeah, it basically got attacked a whole bunch by people who didn't play it because they have some preconceived notions about what being gay means, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, haters gonna hate, whatever. That's just the world we live in, I suppose. Got attacked from people that never played it. Why is that not surprising? Oh yeah, I mean, oh yeah. Just to be clear, all the flag colors in the logo, I find it mildly amusing that the one set of flag colors hidden by the large pride flag are the lesbian colors. That irony did not escape me. Yeah. This flag probably could have been moved down a little bit. Oh well. I'm still happy enough with the flag or the logo as it is. Don't see a clearly represented asexual flag. At first, I thought this was it up here, but I'm having doubts now. Oh well. Yeah. One thing I do want to mention is that the inspiration for this mod was actually a YouTube video by YouTuber ContraPoints. She is a trans woman and activist who talks on a variety of subjects that relate to, not just about trans issues, things, a lot of stuff about like the human condition and so on. It tries to make it accessible to a general audience, really. And there's a chance I'm going to get canceled for bringing up her name too, because she had some difficulty. Well, I don't know how much I should get into it. Basically, she got attacked by some really disingenuous people about supposedly doing problematic things, which uh, it's a whole thing. The the point is, I mean, upshot is like she's give her a chance, okay? Like she's yeah, she did do some things which may have not have been the best choices, but it's like um, she's generally, genuinely, I think, a good person who is doing her best to uh, uh, um, just be a good person and bring educational awareness about issues that people don't necessarily talk about. Anyway, it's not an oversight; it's an Easter egg. Yeah, sure. But anyway, yeah, she did a video. It's entitled "Shame," and it's about her struggle in coming to terms with herself, because yeah, she's a trans woman, and coming to terms with the idea of being a lesbian, and realizing that yeah, she's attracted to women. And part of that, I mean, there was a whole thing. I mean, she made a whole video about it. You can see for yourself. Part of that was the notion that she's being a girl wrong if she's attracted to girls, and she's like, yes, I know that lesbians exist. They're a thing. But she went through that internal struggle in herself of trying to figure out how she felt, and just making peace with the notion that yes, it's okay to refer to herself as a lesbian, and and part of that was all the accusations from the direction of like gender critical folks, or just general like transphobic people who want to attack trans women, claiming that they're trying to get into women's spaces, yada yada yada, that whole thing. And she sort of felt like claiming that she's a lesbian, she's just she's falling into that rhetoric, and falling into that, she's like putting herself in the line of fire from of people who are ready to absolutely condemn her for that sort of thing. And it was a bit of a struggle to reach that point of being comfortable saying that she's a lesbian, because yeah, yeah, it's a lot of things. Like it's she feels pressure of okay, she's physically transitioned. She's like, in the sense of like she's had some facial feminization surgery to make herself look more feminine, and she's quite pleased with the fact that when she's out in public, people address her as Miss or Ma'am, or other female gender terms. That helps reaffirm her gender identity and so on. But but that feeling of like she really struggled with that feeling of admitting that she was attracted to women, like she because she did the thing where she's pursuing relationships with men, and had to very painfully break off a relationship with a man because she had to come to terms with the fact that she wasn't that into him, and she felt really bad about it too, because he's like this. I was gonna say super nice guy, but nice is the word to use when you can't think of a good compliment for someone. Like by all her accounts, he was like very understanding and kind and supportive and so on, and like, you know, like real boyfriend material. And she was like really, it was like a really difficult big deal for her to do that. It was like a really, like, coming to terms with being a lesbian was just like, it was a really difficult thing for her. You know, because like in a lot of ways she feels like being in a relationship with like she, because she presents well as a woman, being in a relationship with a man like helped her complete that picture of looking like this idealized society, socially acceptable appearance, I guess. And in a lot of ways, it was easier for her to do that, to live like that. You know, but she wasn't really happy with it, you know, and she had to come to terms with the fact that she really would be happier with a woman that she actually loved, you know. And you know, it was this whole thing. Like she goes on the detail, all the details about it in her video. But that basically, the upshot of that was the inspiration for this. I actually, I sent Natalie Wynn is the name of the woman behind the ContraPoints YouTube channel. I sent Natalie a link to the mod, because she played Doki Doki Literature Club once on stream. I don't know. She didn't look like she was really into it. I have no idea if she even saw my message. I'm sure she gets messaged by thousands of people daily. So, I don't know. I think it would be neat if she, I don't know, recognized what I was going for in the mod, but who knows? Anyway, that was the inspiration for the mod. So yeah, trying to think if there's anything else left to say about it. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty. This probably could have been its own stream by itself. You know, for all I went was going on about, this is such a short mod, I should probably just have it, you know, attached to another stream, yada yada. This could have been its own stream. Oh well. I made my choice. Yeah, can't think of anything else to say. Thanks to everyone, all the troopers who stuck around right to the end. Thank you very much. I suppose now I can see if there's anyone worth rating. And now that I say that, my viewer count just fell to 2. Heck. Yeah, you know, this has been 6 hours. It's probably just as well I just end this as is. But I have this nagging feeling that I'm forgetting to mention something. There's something I should something else I should say. I don't know. I'm gonna put this up on YouTube. Oh hey, Codair. Well, that turned out to be longer than expected, but I guess that's not too surprising. This mod was not actually 6 hours long. It was like 3 hours of this stream was me playing Club Meetings, episode 9. And then I switched to this afterward, and then that was a lot longer than probably needed to be. Thanks for stopping by, though. I don't know, how much of this did you actually see? If you just got here, like, you just got here just as I was there? Okay. Oh, you were there. Oh, you were here all along? Oh, okay, cool. Well, hey, there you go. Yeah. So I only came in somewhere in the emails. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. But yeah, This has already been long enough, I think. So I'm gonna say thanks for watching, and until next time.